Okay, so continuing back and jumping off of where we started here with Justin. Finally got through like the W3C for kids page and their projects, but let's see. Oh yeah, we didn't read this one. So this is a web page, not much here, just words, and you're reading them. We've become obsessed with fancy designs, responsive layouts, scripts that do magical things, but the most powerful tool on the web is still words. I wrote these words and you're reading them. That's magical. I am in a little city in British Columbia. You're probably somewhere else. I wrote this early in the morning, June 20th, 2013. You're reading it at a different time. I wrote this on my laptop. You could be reading this on your phone, a tablet, or a desktop. You and I have been able to connect because I wrote this and you're reading it. That's the web. Despite our different locations, devices, and time zones, we can connect here on a simple HTML page. I wrote this in a text editor. It's 6 kilobytes. I didn't need a content manager system, a graphic designer, or a software developer. There's not much code on this page at all, just simple markup for paragraphs, hierarchy, and emphasis. I remember teaching my daughter to code HTML when she was 8. The first thing she wrote was a story about a squirrel. She wasn't writing HTML, she was sharing something with the world. She couldn't believe that she could write a story on our home computer and then publish it for the world to see. She didn't care about HTML, she cared about sharing her stories. You're still reading. Think about all the things you could communicate with a simple page like this. If you're a business person, you could sell something. If you're a teacher, you could teach something. If you're an artist, you could show something you've made. And if your words are good, people will read them. If you're a web designer, I challenge you to think about the words first instead of starting with a style guide or Photoshop mockup. Start with words on a page. What do you have to say? If you don't know, there's not much use in it. Adding all that other cruft, just start with one page with a single focus, write it, publish it, and then iterate on that. Every time you're about to add something, ask yourself, does this help me communicate better? Will that additional styling, image, or hyperlink give my audience more understanding? If the answer is no, don't add it. At its heart, web design should be about words. Words don't come after the design is done. Words are the beginning, the core, the focus. Start with words. I really need to do that for my business webpage. But yeah, you can find translations across the spectrum as well here. We're going to go to a story about a squirrel. Sweet! This is my webpage. This is a story of my life. Yes, I know I'm a squirrel. Weird, huh? I have a picture. When I was in skydiving, to prove I'm a squirrel. Oh, I like that squirrel. Do you want to see Great Aunt Mama Beauty? Squirrel. Well, there she is. One, she's had to go to the emergency tree. I like doing stuff in nature. My family's names are Mom, Coconut, Dad, Peanut Butter, Brother, Walnut, Brother, Peanut, Brother, Acorn. Poor Grandma Jalapeno, she got arrested for turning into Superman. One of my friends is named Montreal. She's fun to play with. We should be teaching kids to build web pages like this. I don't think they even teach us anymore in schools. I remember back in forever ago, it's like 6th or 7th grade, they would shove you into like Publisher or like Notepad and you'd write an HTML page like this. And now here we are. And then I've got Dark Reader installed and like it just kind of like adds a dark background and it makes it look nicer. But anyway, Internet Explorer is evil. Okay, so again, this comes off of our webmaster Justin, and he has given us enlightenment and given us many links to go through. Firefox Live. Oh my goodness. I missed the icon. Firefox button madness, buttons everywhere. I feel like I should revamp my webpage, but at the same time I don't want to. But then there's this. I think I could do a Hugo in places and be fine. I've been looking at converting my webpage to Hugo so I can statically build it, but I need to build my own theme for it because I want to keep the same aesthetic. So if I go back here, I've got the cool drop downs here that like if I go to view source, you can see it's like really simple menus and stuff. And there's like one, I think, is it a JS script? I think there is. Web. No, it's literally just stuff built into the web browser for it. I got rid of that part because, yeah. But anyway. Where is the thing? Yeah, so I've got the menu bar. And then you can... I've got to change that. Anyway. Yeah, enough showing off my stuff. Let's go back to, Mozilla, the old stuff. Firefox Doom Party. Gosh. When Firefox 2.0 was released, I figured what better way to celebrate than blowing each other up. To that end, I created this Doom Deathmatch level update, and it has been updated for Firefox 3. The weapons layout is optimized for use with new guns, B3.wad on skull tag. I like that flamethrower. The grenade launcher is skull tag specific. I threw that in the last minute to balance things out because I had laid out rocket ammo and then realized none of the new guns B3 weapons used rocket ammo. Most ports of Doom simply ignore this object when they load this level. When running a deathmatch server, be sure to turn on your die on attempt to exit level feature. This ensures that players get too close to the logo of the other browsers will turn to instant gibbage. Dang. Why Firefox is good for businesses. It's free. And stuff. If Windows 8 were a car. Brick! What will Bill do next? Windows 98 setup. Oh gosh. Frick. Anti-IE hate. Okay, let's go to John Butler. His heyday site was in the internet top 100 popular sites, but times changed. I couldn't compete with the big boys without some sort of business model. And I eventually built a business in a totally different area. It is still not a bad reference for all that is and isn't partial. Welcome to the net's oldest malt whiskey site. Oh yeah, the whiskey one. Let's see. Let's go through distilleries in Scotland, because who wouldn't? I gotta take a pause and go to the bathroom. We can click it. You didn't click in the active area? No! Okay. Let's click on Banff. Distiller was in the town whose name bore it. On the coast west of the mouth of the River Deveron, the distillery established in 1824, built on a different site in 1863 and again in 1877, and damaged by bomb in the Second World War, was the subject of much folk history. None of this prevented it from being closed by its owners. Then the Distillers Company Limited in 1983 and dismantled. Dang. See, this is preserving history right here. First official bottling of this malt was in 1990, almost a century after the distillery's foundation. The distillery is in the village of Knock, between the rivers Spey, Isla, and Deveron. It was the first to be established by the Distillers Company Limited and was used to provide malt whiskey for the blenders Hague. In 1983, it was closed, but 5 years later was acquired by the partners in Inverhouse under the name of the Knocktu Distillery Company. Knocktu was the first of the many distilleries to reopen toward the end of the decade and in the early 1990s. Dang. There's so much you could learn. Man. That's amazing. And notice that the rest of like the UK doesn't exist because it doesn't matter. Let's see. Let's go to the Western Isles just for fun. Look at that. Can I... See, the whole image is like... Okay, so yeah, it's the none.html is what it links to. That's sad. I feel like doing links otherwise would be beneficial, but anyway. Jura's single distillery seems to have been founded in 1810, rebuilt in 1876, but closed during the First World War, though a couple of buildings dating back to its early days are still in use. The present distillery was built during the late 1950s and early 1960s and enlarged in the 1970s. It was owned for a time by Scottish and Newcastle breweries, and its malt whiskey is an important component in the Mackinlay blends. Less than 10% of the spirit is matured in sherry casks, and the rest in second fill Scotch whiskey casks. It gets its water from a spring called the Bilmargide, which flows over rock and carries very little peat. The two pairs of stills are amongst the tallest in the industry, a factor contributing to light and pure spirit. The wash and spirit stills are very much the same size and are heated internally by steam-filled coils. I like this. Holy cow. Let's see, for first-time visitors, finding your way around, odds and ends. Gets into forensics, but still keeps his whiskey site up. Foreign language guides, tasting notes. Dang. Yeah, so this is dcs.ed.ac.uk/home/jhb/whiskey. So yeah, go check out your whiskey and your hate for Internet Explorer. Dang. I really like this. I like it a lot. I think we'll go... Oh, Sporks. I forgot Sporks. The shirts are here. Check out the Spork gear page for details. Spork shirts are here, selling at $7 a shirt. Last updated in 96? What? Blend of a spoon and a fork. Proprietary name for a piece of cutlery combining the features of spoon and fork. And sometimes knife. Spork is a colloquial term for a runcible spoon. Let's see, 1970, U.S. Patent Office, 11th of August. Van Brode Milling, spork for combination plastic spoon, fork, and knife. Yet a spork is so much more than just a poor excuse for an eating utensil. A spork is a perfect metaphor for human existence. It tries to function as both spoon and fork, and because of this dual nature, it fails miserably at both. You cannot have a soup with a spork. It is far too shallow. You cannot eat meat with a spork. The prongs are too small. Uses for the spork. As we know, a spork is completely inappropriate as an eating utensil, so the question arises, but then what can a spork... I use a spork for? Pull out all but the edge prongs, rip off the handle, and stick it in your mouth. Instant Dracula. Invert the spork, turn it into a foon, and load stuff into the depression and fire. Wait. Okay. Foon your spork and lay it on the table with an arch up, then press on the high arch and release flying foons. Foon your spork and then spork your foon in rapid succession. The releasing cracking sound is known as a spack. This is hours of fun. Foon your spork and turn the prongs up. You have just created a sporfundapult. Perfect for launching. See above. I'm not opening that. Oh, you are in trouble. Ramen. Oh, wait. Oh, wait, no. No. Oh, yeah. Let's see, alternatively, bend the prongs inward and outward and stand the spork on end. This is a leaning tower of spork. You can then launch foons over it. Get a bunch of friends together and make a plenty foons, then start launching them at each other. The object is to collide foons in midair. Note the more foons in the air, the better. Or try to launch 5 to 10 at a time for a challenge. Plant them in your lawn to scare away burglars. Stick them in your backpack to scare away friends. Instead of roses, give your girlfriend sporks in new and interesting ways. Plus, much more. What other people do with sporks. The band Soup threw out 1,000 of them during shows. Dark Helmet suggested the spork war. Much like Pencil War, you try and crack one spork with the other. One player holds the spork horizontally and the other holds it vertically. Bends back the handle, lets go, and hits the midsection of the other spork as hard as possible. If you don't break the other spork, you switch off roles. I would recommend using thick sporks with this one. Joseph D. Mulholland remembers the way back in the 4th grade. He and a bunch of pals played lowest spork number, where you compare the number on the back of the spork and the lowest wins. Sadly, I remember doing this as well. John Bragg likes to paint them gold and put them behind his ear so he can be a spork pimp. There are a couple people out there who insist that one can eat with a spork. Neil Heff says one can eat ramen with the broth drained off and the infamous Nacho Supreme. Gregory S. Sutter holds that they are good for Chinese food. Lydia Mills says they are good for potato salad. Barbara Keller says her infant daughter eats as well with a spork as with anything else. Barbara Burnett has apparently been reasonably successful in eating KFC mashed potatoes with gravy. Some guy who calls himself Rust uses sporks to eat all of his taco droppings at Taco Bell. Sporks from around the world. I've been collecting information about what types of sporks there are and where to get them. Taco Bell, KFC, Wendy's in upstate New York. New York's public schools sporks are green and have 4 prongs. New Jersey School, Central High School in Kansas City, Missouri, New Zealand. Darren A. Summers. According to, you can get silver sporks from a company called Donsk. In Pima County Adult Detention Center, sporks are issued with each meal. Sporks, which aren't sporks. In Canada, you can get a spam-like food called spork. There's a guy named Maz Henrik Spork. The band Spork may be seen in Marana, Arizona. I hope their guitars have prongs. The band Spoonfed uses sporks as their mascot logo in Destiny. There's yet another band called Spork in Albuquerque, New Mexico. The singer Jeremy Clymer also has a strange fixation with Struns. Donald Biggs is also in a band called Spork, located in California. Spork's in the media. President Clinton used a spork as the symbol for this administration because of its dual nature. What he neglected to mention was that it is impossible to eat with. The Critic used a spork as a threat. You want to eat a piece of me, fat boy? Critic also used a spork as an excuse for something less amusing. He said to his girlfriend, The Simpsons, Bart received a pocket knife which contained a spork when he joined the Boy Scouts. Foons is the inverse of the spork and is created through a process known as fooning. The process can only be done on flexible sporks. Taco Bell sporks are right out. They crack as soon as you apply any kind of pressure, and it takes a skilled hand. Beware, you are apt to crack many sporks before you become a true master of the foon. The process of fooning is as follows. Place your thumb on the bottom curve of the spork. Gently push in with the thumb until the spork is inverted. If done properly, you may let go and the spork will retain its foon shape. Once you have your foon, a whole new world of enjoyment between you and your spork foon will open up for you. We must watch this educational material. Very nice. Not that one. Spork links. Altutensils.spork, the Usenet source for sporks. Sporks are godlike. Spork's neglected in cyberspace. I was around well before he was spreading the glory of fork. Eating utensils of the gods. I'm giving this guy some credit for just not stealing graphics from my site. The fact that he has no graphics or links or much of anything is moot, really. Spork Info, the other Spork page. Who does this guy think he is? Spork World, this guy thinks he's cool because he has spork.com. And if it weren't for that, I'd never have found him. Oh my goodness. Cool ways to die. Okay, so it has nothing to do with sporks, but damn it, if I don't get cool site, Anyway, that's sporks, and your hate for IE and everything else. If you liked the content, if you enjoyed it, if you think I deserve it, like, comment, subscribe, leave any criticisms you have or what have you. I appreciate it. Feed that algorithm, like I said, and I will see you guys in the next one.